Hey, welcome to the Social 333 podcast. I'm your host, Chris Bentley. Today, my guest is Kam Dasani. Kam, welcome to the show.
Hey, appreciate you having me, man. And real quick before we jump in, you guys, I've watched 5-6 episodes of yours already, and the way that you conduct conversations, regardless of the niche of the person, it just flows. And I'm really looking forward to today, given your knowledge of trading and investing as well. So if you guys haven't left a 5-star review for Chris, please go ahead and do so, just like I did. And yeah, man, looking forward to a great convo.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Yeah, like we were kind of talking offline about trading, so definitely going to have some fun and talk about it. Kam, tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you got going on.
Yeah, and I'll start with this just so people have context. Most corporate America people, for lack of better terms, are not happy with where they're at in their careers. Either they're working too hard for not enough money, or they simply just don't like what they do, and they've tried dozens of things, whether it's Airbnb, whether it's starting a business, whether it's buying a business, whether it's trading and investing in the stock market and losing a bunch of money. And the reality is they don't have the time to do what they need to do to actually see success, right? I was exactly this type of person. I'm from the Silicon Valley. I was in corporate America working in tech, and I didn't have the time to start a business, and I didn't have the time to research how to strategically invest. So what I did instead was team up with incredible traders to make sure that I could actually make money in the stock market with respect to just putting your money in the S&P 500 or in the 401k and letting it sit till you're 65 and almost dead. So that's what I help people do now, so they can break free of the corporate realm, or just have supplemental income to what they're already doing.
And you trade mostly stocks. Oh, I'm sorry. You usually trade mostly options and futures, correct?
Options and futures.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So we were kind of talking offline a little bit about it. So my experience with options, I actually follow somebody, and he has a bot, and the bot will turn on. And after a while, I have obviously some trading experience. Been trading for a long time. I own my own capital management company, and you would see a pattern, right? And I would be like, okay, I just kind of approach it like a job. I'd be like, okay, well, like I'd get up at, I don't know, 7:30, kind of watch to see particular tickers rolling around. I won't say the names, right? And then I'll kind of see the flow of the market and where it's headed. And then I would sit and trade, and I would trade, I don't know, from, I would say, the bell to maybe 9 o'clock. And then I would be like, okay, well, we're going in this momentum, so then I can like double down on my bets. Like I already traded, I made the money, now I'll go back in and trade. And these are options I'm playing. And then I would get to, I have like alarms on my phone, right? And I would get to probably about 11 o'clock or so, and then I'd be done for the day, right? And I'd be like, all right, that's cool. And I make like 25,000, 30,000. I mean, I would win like 3 or 4 days in a row. And then it would be like one off day, because that's how options and futures are. It's really, you're at the mercy of the market maker and just in the price action, right? So if something were to happen, Trump were to sneeze the wrong way, something was in the news about something, you can kind of see where you're at, and it starts to like, the market makers are moving it down, and the price action is starting to get really bad, or the Fed's about to speak or something like that. So I've experienced a lot of it, and I know that it's very easy in my mind, right? Because I had a corporate job. It's very easy to be like, okay, well, I can go to work, log in, do my thing, maybe I'm doing virtual or whatever, like attempt to look like I'm working, right? Until about 11 and make a couple $1,000 and just duplicate that over and over again. If I just had somebody telling me, hey man, like you got to buy, or hey man, like you got to get out, or like get out now, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what you got going on right now, right?
Yeah. So I'll even add to that by saying exactly what you described is the way I started, right? I was working in tech startups, anywhere from Series A to Series C. So like you had flexibility in the context of like, I wasn't working for Google. I wasn't working for Amazon. I wasn't working for huge companies where like I was really bogged down and monitored in terms of my time. There was a lot of freedom. What we offer is, and the way we trade is called what we call full conviction swings. So in trading, to make it very simple for the audience, depending on your knowledge, there's day trading and there's swing trading, right? You obviously know the difference. Right. Day trading means you're buying and selling in the same day. Swing trading means you're buying on one day and selling on another. All we're doing is sharing with you guys what we're doing on our swing trades, which means, hey, on Monday, you're going to enter a trade that we enter if you want to. And then on Friday, we're going to tell you when to sell. You don't have to do any of the hard work that we're doing behind the scenes on market analysis and everything that we do to make sure that you're successful. And full conviction swings are literally the most hands-off way anybody with a corporate job can make real money in the stock market.
I've done a couple of swing trades where it'll be a particular ticker and the bot, like, because we were in that group and they have a bot, and the bot would be like, okay, well, by Wednesday is the day to get out, and it's like a Monday, or maybe it's like a Thursday that you have to get out, and like we would buy, and I would be sitting there absolutely nervous, right? Because I'm sitting there like watching the tickers like every single time. The price action's horrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then out of nowhere, I mean, a lot of the stuff sometimes is just blind luck, right? So
Sure.
out of nowhere, it'll just start ripping, and it'll be like news that a particular chip maker is like purchasing another chip maker or like investing in some other like business, and now it's like flying, and you're like, well, like I'm just gonna take my cash now, like I can't wait till Thursday. So there is a lot of, that's why I really like doing swing trading versus what I was doing before, which is like just get up, grind, look at the numbers, and then there's a little bit of just being trigger happy, like you're just like, okay, well, like I made $50 or I made like $100, and you're like, I gotta take my money, and then you miss out on the whole meat of the move because I did that today actually. And you miss out on the whole meat of the move because you think it's going one way and you're just being nervous,
Sure.
And you just don't have anybody kind of coaching you in that spot.
Yeah.
Let's talk about one of the biggest things, and I had a gentleman on the show, which is like everybody thinks the market's rigged and they're not going to win, and it's a casino and all that stuff. And I've heard it all, right?
Sure.
I've heard it all, and I don't consider it a casino. I don't consider it rigged. I consider it manipulated. And what I mean by that is like it. For me, the market moves on news.
Yep.
So like stock isn't going to move very much unless somebody's buying it or there's some sort of news that comes out that's going to push that either higher or lower, or it's just the general market itself is going lower or higher.
Yeah.
So what I come across is a lot of people that, I don't know, they have $25,000. Somebody just got some money somehow, some way. Maybe they got like an old 401k and they just left their job and they're like, okay, well, this is my opportunity to make $1 million. Everybody wants to make $1 million, right? And like from your aspect, I know from my aspect in capital management, it's really, it's not impossible. It's just really difficult with 25,000. Like you have to kind of like temper people's expectations a little bit.
For sure. I mean, what I've noticed is that the people that actually have less seem to be unhappy more of the time. And the people with more money are satisfied with less. Like Warren Buffett said something along these lines where he says basically, and I don't want to butcher his words, but he basically said like, as long as I can take a little bit of risk with a lot of money over and over again and just keep compounding it, that's worth it to me. Whereas like these people with $5,000, they want to get to $100,000 by the end of the year. And I'm like, if you start with $5,000 and you're hoping to get to $100,000, is it possible? Yes, but not without a lot of risk. Right? So like you can't have it all where you're like, I don't want to lose money, but I also want to make $1 million. Well, like I think Chris and I can both speak for ourselves. Trading aside, even our lives were not built to the level that they are without a lot of risk.
Yeah.
And you've told stories about going bankrupt. I've been close to bankrupt. And it's because we had to play the game the hard way until we connected with the right people to become successful. And that's why we're where we're at today, in my opinion.
Yeah, even the best stock traders blow up our accounts. Like I blew up my account the other day just trading options, and I was just so far out on margin that I couldn't reel it back. I blew it up.
Yeah,
gone. Right.
Yeah.
And like you walk away, and some of the best traders like that I follow have blown up multiple accounts. So like that isn't really a thing or something to really worry about. But when you're very defensive and you're going into the market expecting just you making, 250% on your money, it's you gotta have to have some sort of expectation that you may end up losing some money,
Sure.
if not all.
And if you don't want to lose, then just invest in the S&P 500 forever. Invest in your 401k. You'll make 4 to 8% year after year forever. And at 65, you can withdraw a couple $100,000 and live off of that. And then that'll be gone in like a few years based on your spending habits. And then you're back to nothing. So retirement is really a fallacy because like none of the retirement plans actually get you there. And all of the risky stuff does. Right. So if I look at like my partner, Mehul Patel, right, ex-Goldman Sachs, has taught me everything that I need to know about futures and literally is responsible for our students getting $700,000 in profits and payouts from prop firms. Now, for people that don't know what prop firms are, they're companies that give the best traders in the world money, right? So imagine having $4.5 million like Mehul that you can literally trade with and take big risks with. And if you win, you keep 80% of the profits. And if you lose, guess what? You don't owe anybody a dime. Now, if you think that sounds too good to be true, then go on ChatGPT or Google, wherever you like to do your research, and look up how the prop firm industry works. And the best part about futures prop firms is that it's regulated by the CME, the Chicago Market Exchange. For people that don't know what that is, it's the equivalent of Wall Street, but for futures. So all the data you're getting, all the firms that we work with that give us this money, it's regulated. They can't just like rob you, right? Whereas like in Forex, unregulated industries, there are prop firms that give traders money, but they can literally disappear with the money. And I've heard these stories over and over again. It's because they're not regulated. So nobody cares when that happens. In futures, that literally can't happen. And the way you win the game big, like you just described, leverage is power.
Yeah, it's just you had to be real careful with what you're doing and how you do it. And obviously, you hire somebody like yourself and your group to do something like that. I think really two things really hold people back is either they listen to a guru about investing or they just like don't. They're like, oh, it's a bull run. It'll last forever. I mean, I've heard and seen like so much and so many different things, or they missed out, right? Like they're like, oh, well, I didn't invest in that particular chip maker. I missed out. So I'm going to just throw shade on the whole thing. It's awful. And I hope it all cracks. And it's just like, well, like, good luck. Like, I'm going to ride this thing out and just deposit all the money into my account. Thanks.
Sure.
Right. You know, like, so what is it like you've heard that it's just awful, bad information, things that people like shouldn't listen to outside of, you know, obviously, you know, putting all your money into your 401k and just like riding that out until oblivion, or, you know, just don't bet on things that you don't understand, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like I've heard
100%.
all that stuff. Like what have you really heard that like can change somebody's perception of either
Yeah.
stocks, options, futures, whatever it is?
Yeah. What you just described reminds me of the levels to people's sophistication when it comes to investing. The lowest level is 401k and S&P. That's not going to take you anywhere. You know that. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
There's the second level, which is, and this is actually most people that get on a call with me. They say, "Oh, I'm investing right now. I am trading, but I'm trading stocks." And I clarify what they mean because sometimes they use their own terminology that isn't accurate. I'm like, do you mean you're buying low and selling high, just shares? They're like, yeah, and I try to get 5% a day or like some movement in the market. And I'm like, okay, that's a very unsophisticated way to trade, in my opinion. To just because you have to, it's very contingent on your budget. Meaning, if Tesla's $600 a share, or if Meta's $700 a share, you have to buy a lot of Meta shares to even make money with that strategy, right? But if you're trading options, it's a hack. You're basically, and for people that don't know what options trading is, you're predicting what's going to happen to a stock by a certain date. So when I said earlier, full conviction swings, what we're doing is setting an expiration date that's very far out and saying, hey, even if like Trump says some crazy stuff or Musk does this or big market movers say things and ruin the price of the stock for a little bit, it doesn't matter because we have a lot of time for this contract to become true, for this prediction to become true. And that's why the swings are full conviction. So to answer your question, instead of buying low and selling high, which is the second level of sophistication, you need to just understand how the biggest hedge funds in the world are trading, and that is by swinging options trades.
options made me a lot of money, and
Me
I'm
too.
not gonna lie, and it's also broken me too. But it's if you play it right and you have a swing trade, like there's a lot of money to be made.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, go
What
ahead.
you just said. If it can't break you, it can't make you rich. The S&P, you can like do that. It'll never break you. You'll never lose all your money. Even the market crash in '08. If you had just waited it out, which nobody did, you would have been back up.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yeah.
No. So that's the point, is that like you can buy a laundromat, you can start an Airbnb business, you can do all of these different things, but those are things that can cripple you if you do it wrong. If you trade options wrong, you can be crippled. You can go bankrupt. But if you do it right, you can become very, very wealthy.
You know, you put something on here that I thought that was really, really interesting, is that trading success is a mindset versus strategy. So I was in a group, we were trading, I'm not going to name the group, but we were trading live, and there was like a guru. He didn't want to trade at all, which was like really weird, and one of the students like kind of called him out on it. But we were all kind of hanging out, and you know, he was just identifying patterns. He's like, you should buy this or that. And the lady next to me was trading, and she was just trading a lot. And I was like looking over at her, trying to figure out what she was doing, and she actually nailed a play, and it was rolling, and she sold it like way too soon, and this thing like rolled like, I'm talking about like almost $4, right? And I'm like looking at this lady, and she's still like doing these, making $5 or $10 a trade. And I would look at her like, it would kind of remind me of like watching somebody play the slot machine at a casino, and she would just be like, okay, well, I'm going to play the stock. Okay, cool. I made 5 cents. And I paid the stock. Okay, cool. It paid me 7 cents. Okay, cool. And just back and forth, back and forth. And her account was real small. And I was just like, you know, cool. Like you did all that work and you maybe made like $20.
People have no value for their time because they don't understand how money is made. Whereas like for us, we've seen 10 grand in 2 hours. We've seen 20 grand in 2 hours. Why would I? Yeah, people just don't have value for their time, man. There's no other way to say it.
I had this other guy that sat like on the other end of the table, and he was like, yeah, what I would do, my strategy is that I would look at all the stocks at the end of the day, and then I would be like, oh, well, that stock is low, and like I would buy it at the end of the day, and then he would wake up and then hope that it went up that day. And like, I mean, and he was like, yeah, my wife is like really pissed off at me because like I've lost a lot of money. And I was like, yeah, that's like a horrible strategy.
She
like,
should be pissed off at your strategy.
yeah,
That's
I mean,
what she should be pissed off at.
I don't know how anybody would like trade so blindly.
Here's a worse one. You want to hear the worst strategy I ever heard on a call? So I'm Persian, but I'm Zoroastrian Persian, which is the first religion to ever believe in one God. Christianity was founded off of it. But a lot of people think I'm Muslim, if I'm saying it correctly. My dad is technically Muslim, but we don't practice in that regard. But I've had Muslim people get on calls and say, hey, I'm buying low and selling high. That's my strategy. I'm like, that? But then they have the audacity to say what I do is haram, which is like the bad. There's halal and haram. You know, haram means it's not good. Halal means it's good. And I'm like, what you're doing is so much more gambling than what I'm doing. What I'm doing is very strategic blue chip stock investing, which means we invest in the biggest companies in the world and make predictions on where these companies are going. What you do is bet on random things that you know nothing about. And that's why religion is a blessing and a curse as well. That's another conversation for another day. But it's like, it can really blind you because you have such a fixed mindset about what is good and bad, where you don't even realize that what you're doing is bad. It's bad for your bank account, and it's bad for your mind, and it's bad for everything, because how are you expecting to bet on stocks that aren't even like companies that are doing anything right now and expecting to make money in a day? Sad.
What do you think the dumbest financial advice you've seen on social media that's actually gone viral? I've seen some wild stuff, but like, what have you seen?
Wow.
I mean, I've seen like penny stock stuff, which is fine. Like some
Yeah.
people trade penny stocks. Mostly they short penny stocks. But like, what have you kind of seen?
I mean, like the meme coin stuff is tough because people don't understand who you're competing against.
Mm-hmm.
That's a rigged game. If you want to know what a rigged game is, Meme coins, the issue is you're competing against somebody who has 18 hours a day to sit, be fat, eat chips, and piss in a cup and make money in 4 minutes. You're not going to beat him if you have a corporate job. You're not going to beat him if you have a life. You're not going to beat him if you have a wife. You're never going to beat him. He's going to beat you and take all your money and rug pull you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst advice I heard. Let's do this meme coin thing.
I never got into crypto. I traded some crypto stocks here and there, but I just never got into it. My thing was, and I kind of want your perspective on it, was that when I had a job, I was like, okay, because there was a period where I just went broke. Like I put all my money into leads, and the lead company got delisted. I'm not gonna name the lead company got delisted from Google. Nobody can find the lead company, right? So now, like, everybody that's interested in 123 Main isn't going to show up like a Zillow or Realtor.com.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost, I'm in a contract, so I lost all my money, right? So now I'm like sitting at home broke, eating eggs and bacon. I've told that story a bunch of different times. Yeah. And I had to go get a job. And when I was sitting there at the job, I was like, like, I'm smart, man. Like, I can figure this shit out. Mm-hmm. Pardon my language, right? Like, I could figure it out. And, like, I just started working on side hustles, anything I could do to, like, make some money to get back to where I have enough money that I could put more money into the market and make more money so I could quit my job. And I knew that I could sell. I knew I could sell, houses. I'd probably sell cars, anything, right? I can sell. So somebody that's in the same boat as me, they just, they're down on their luck. Maybe some sort of thing happened. Maybe it's health-wise. Maybe it's relationship-wise, whatever it is. Or maybe it's just somebody that's in corporate America. They've been doing it for 20, 30 years. And they're like, look, like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I've reached maybe like a plateau where I have some time that I can invest and start trading and learning a new skill, which it is a skill.
Sure.
What do you recommend for them? Like, how can they get kind of going and learn from you and kind of get into the group?
Yeah. There's levels to being down bad, and I'm going to talk about how to go from the bottom to the top in 30 seconds. You need to understand that the system of American debt is built for you to take advantage of it and for other people and most people to be scared of it, which means if you are down bad and you have bad credit, the first thing you need to do is fix your credit. We can help you do that, and that's not even like our main thing, but we want to make sure everybody has a chance to become financially free through the stock market. But if you don't have any money and you have bad credit, you need to fix your credit. The sad part is, Chris, is that most people won't fix their credit. They're too cheap. They'd rather spend money on chips and prostitution and liquor and whatever else they like. But the reality is if they spend a few $100s to $1,000 to fix their credit, then they can go to the bank and get money from the bank at 0% interest. Mm-hmm. Free money that now you can buy yourself time, meaning Chase gives you 20 grand. You have 2 years to pay it off. Now you have time and leverage. Now you can use that money to work with somebody like me and my team or do whatever else you want to do. But the point is you bought yourself money and time that you can use at your discretion. Now, let's say you're the next step up. Credit's decent or good, but you have a job and it's kind of bogging you down and you're stuck at like 130, 150, maybe 170 a year, but you're living in a tier 1 city, so it's really lower middle class. Okay? You're kind of living check to check, but you have like 20 grand saved or like in some poorly appreciating investment accounts that your company told you to get, right? What do? Well, you do the second step that I just told you. You go to the bank and you get a 0% interest credit card. Now you can use that to actually invest money and use leverage in mentorship, experts, people, the stock market, so on and so forth. That is literally what I did 5 years ago to become a millionaire. I leveraged $92,000. Here are the banks I used: US Bank, Chase, American Express. That's what you do. I've already done it. If you want help doing it, you can come to me. Profit with Kam on Instagram. Profit with KAM. DM me, and we can start from the bottom. That's why when people say like, "Oh, I can only help certain people," I can. It's the reason we say that is because most people that are at the bottom don't actually get the help.
One last thing, and today is the year 3 at the bull market. I don't know if you picked up on that today. Mm-hmm. I think we're going higher. Of course, I'm not a fortune teller. If I was, I would be absolutely wealthy and be sitting on a beach and we'd have this conversation like...
With the wind?
Yeah, right. just different conversation, different location, right?
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people are going to miss out.
Oh yeah.
They're like, okay, well, the timing's wrong, or I'm scared to lose money, or I might lose my job, or something like that. A piece of advice maybe for somebody that isn't 100% sold, maybe they're like 50-50, maybe they just want to make a couple extra bucks, whatever it is.
Sure.
Like, what do you recommend for them to do?
Look, you have to ask yourself this question when evaluating things seriously. Do you have a process to evaluate whether or not something is something that you want to do, or do you just go based off of how you feel? Because if you're going based off of how you feel, then chances are you're not approaching beautiful women, because that's scary. Chances are you're not taking any risks business-wise or finance-wise, which is why you're lower middle class or stuck in a job that you hate. So if you're going based off of how you feel, you're not doing it right. My advice to you would be understanding that opportunities don't actually last forever. That's why they're called opportunities. So you need to capitalize on trends, right? If you look at really successful people, they all hit a trend of some sort or hit a wave. What was my first wave? It was crypto, ironically. 2018, my first sales manager in tech said, Cam, buy Bitcoin, buy Ethereum. Everyone's going to laugh at you for 5 years, and then you're going to be rich as fuck. That's exactly what happened. In March of this year, I called it out. There's a story on my Instagram. It cannot be faked. Go look at my story highlights. I literally said, Bitcoin just dropped to 76K. I'm loading up. It's at 125. You need to capitalize on things, or you can just work a job, but don't complain about your life changing if you're not willing to take risk. I lost 300,000 before I ever made $1 million. If you're not willing to lose 5 to 10K, then don't expect to make 100. Don't expect to stack 200. So my advice ultimately would be this. Actually take the time to do your due diligence on me and my team. My partner, Mehul Patel, is ex-Goldman Sachs. He built algorithms on the future side. Okay. My dad is a PhD AI ML engineer. Okay. You can look up our team. You can go on LinkedIn. You can look up our background. I can show you a video with 6 months of our trades live. It's me going through 6 months of trading results during the April run when the market reset to now. If that's not you, I can put you on the phone with our testimonials. Internal medicine doctor at UNC. Not going to say his name on camera. Anesthesiologists, attorneys, people that work at the biggest financial institutions in the world that cannot be public testimonials because their company will fire them. That's how good we are, that they trust us. If you go through everything and you're not satisfied, I'm curious to know what satisfies you.
I agree. Cam, I appreciate you coming on the show.
One gift for your listeners. One last gift. DM me, Profit with Cam, Profit with KAM. DM me 333. I've never done this before. DM me 333. I'm going to give you a free stock portfolio audit. Completely free. Send me your screenshot of your Robinhood, Webull, whatever you use. I will have my team look at it, and I will let you know what we think.
That's awesome. I'm actually going to take care of it. I'm actually going to use that myself.
There we go.
Appreciate it, Cam. Thank you.
Chris, thanks, man. Appreciate you.